It's Bears week for the Kansas City Chiefs, and when you ask majority of NFL fan bases and Chiefs Kingdom, this is a give me game for the Kansas City Chiefs. We're not doing that. The trap game is infamous and it can happen to anybody. So we're locked in, and even though the Chicago Bears are 0-2 and it seems like the world may be falling, they do got some legit talent on that team. So we're going to discuss, we're going to analyze, and we're going to see what can happen in this game. But with that, let's cut the chit chat and let's have some fun. Mark your calendars, Chiefs Kingdom, September 24th, 4 p.m. Eastern, probably like 4:25, but you get the gist. We're going live on the channel and we will be covering the game per usual as the Chicago Bears come into Arrowhead and take on the Kansas City Chiefs. Please be sure to hit that bell button so you do not miss out on the live stream. It's going to be fun as always, and I can't wait to see all of you there. Now, zoning in a little bit on this game. As I mentioned to start off this video, people say, oh, it's the Chicago Bears. The Kansas City Chiefs should blow out this team. This should not even be a game. And then with everything that's been going on with the Chicago Bears, in specific today, with the defensive coordinator resigning, with Justin Fields saying he don't believe in the coaches, then he reiterated and said, you guys basically blew that out of the water. And then what? The defensive coordinator's home being raided, and it's just been a whirlwind of things for the Chicago Bears this week, and it's going to be harder for them to focus on a game, let alone the Kansas City Chiefs. But if you rewind specifically exactly a year to the date when the Kansas City Chiefs in week 3 played the Indianapolis Colts, and that was a give me game for the Kansas City Chiefs. It wasn't give me at the end of the day because they lost to the Indianapolis Colts and they didn't play any good particular football. So what we're going to do today is discuss the challenges and the talent that the Chicago Bears present and what the Kansas City Chiefs need to do to avoid the trap game. And to kick it off, the one thing that can hurt the Kansas City Chiefs more than anything is injuries. And to kick off practice today, they had a lengthy injury report. Now, nothing too serious besides one player that surprised a lot of us, and it's Richie James. He has an MCL injury and he can miss extended amount of time, and Coach Reid did not seem so confident that he may be getting Richie James back, at least in the near future. So what does that mean? Because Richie James, he hasn't produced on the offense, but what he has done is on special teams, and he has been a secure punt returner. And it's funny, I say that hesitantly because he did muff a punt last week, so it's like those questions still linger in the air. But when you lose Richie James, it's who's your kick returner and who's your punt returner going into the Chicago game? And do you elevate a guy like Deneric Prince for this game? Those are all legit questions and the stuff that the Kansas City Chiefs coaches gotta address coming into this game, because I really don't know what they do. And a lot of people will be like, well, put Kadarius Toney there. Hold up. Because Kadarius Toney also has a toe injury. And yes, another injury. And it's an injury we're not aware of. Again, I don't know the severity of the injury, but if he's out, that also limits you another guy as a weapon and in the return game as well. And we're not done there yet, because RB1, Isaiah Pacheco, has ended up on the injury report with the hamstring injury as well. Again, don't know the depth or the severity of the injury. I'm hopeful he'll play, because this will be another game where you can display him. And let's run it. Run the damn ball. If the Kansas City Chiefs want to succeed, even specifically against a team like the Chicago Bears, they got to control the time of possession and yard by yard, run that ball, and Isaiah Pacheco would be a key feature on that. And also, there was many more injuries. I'm going to have the list appear here because I can't remember it off the top of the dome, but hopefully these guys that ended up on the injury report today end up being available for game day. I really think the only question mark is Richie James, but we'll learn more as the weeks progress, or the week progresses. Now, let's focus on this offense a little bit, because for the first 2 weeks of the NFL season, this offense hasn't looked like the Kansas City Chiefs offense that we have all come accustomed to, that we have all fallen in love with, that has brought Super Bowl championships to the kingdom. It's been the defense that has won the last game and has kept us alive on banner night. But if you look at any game on paper, this is the perfect get-right game for the Kansas City Chiefs. And when you focus on the offensive line and defensive line and solely on the trenches, this is something that the Kansas City Chiefs can dominate. If they avoid penalties, of course. And when you zone in on Jawaan Taylor, man, he was a man picked on by the refs all last week, and it was unfortunate. Now, I expect that to lighten up, but I also expect Jawaan Taylor's game to also kind of adjust as well. But when you look at what the Chicago Bears defensive line did against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers last week, you ain't gonna find nothing, because they didn't do much. And they made Baker Mayfield basically look like Patrick Mahomes. And if you look at Baker Mayfield and Jordan Love, what they did against the Chicago Bears defense, they looked very, very well. And now that you have the MVP, him, QB1 coming to play the Chicago Bears, you should expect to see the Patrick Mahomes and the offense clicking. Last week, the Chicago Bears defensive line didn't even get a sack, didn't even get a pressure. And when you deal with the interior that the Kansas City Chiefs offensive line has, and also a very solid tackle situation as well. I know we look at it and we see penalties and we see things like that, but Jawaan Taylor and pass protection, surprise, surprise, he's actually one of the best in the leagues. So if you kind of avoid the penalties, which is hard to do because they are eye-popping, but if you can correct that, he is definitely well worth the money. So Chiefs Kingdom needs to stop being on his back because it's all going to work out at the end of the day. And when you solely focus on this offense, another thing that could pop off and might put Chiefs Kingdom at a certain ease is this wide receiving core. Now, yes, I did mention certain injuries, but also another guy who can replicate a game and maybe have a bigger game is Sky Moore. The Chicago Bears defense, including their secondary, has been struggling to start the year off. So this is a good get-right game for guys like if a Kadarius Toney plays, Sky Moore, MVS, Travis Kelce. The list goes on and on. These receivers can eat. And even with the injuries that have been presented today, look for guys like Rashee Rice and Justin Ross, yes, the fan favorite, to snaps increase. They were already going to increase, but with injuries, you may see them more on the field. And I know that gets the fan base excited. But also, like I mentioned, run the damn ball. And that's why if any injury is crucial, it's Isaiah Pacheco. I really believe he'll play in this game, but I don't know the severity of it. But this can be a game, if he does play, I could see him going over 100 rush yards if Andy Reid runs the damn ball. I really think this is the perfect get-right game for the Kansas City Chiefs on the offensive side of the ball. But now as we transition onto the defense and focus on them and the kind of challenges they got against the Chicago Bears. And you may laugh when I say challenges, but I'm not going to discredit the Chicago Bears just by that. We're 2 weeks in, and yes, I understand. It has not looked pretty for their offense. But to say they don't have playmakers is a far stretch because they really do. And the Kansas City Chiefs, if they get caught sleeping, they can make this a game that we do not want to be watching and have a repeat of last year's Week 3 against the Indianapolis Colts. They have guys like Justin Fields, who at the end of the day has been struggling as a passer and has been holding on to the football for far too long. And quoting Justin Fields, he literally said he just got to get back to himself. And my first light bulb that pops into my head when he says that is, I'm running the ball. If I can't find a pass, I'm running. And that can cause kind of chaotic situations for this Kansas City Chiefs defense to where if Justin Fields solely just tries to run all over the field and not force any passes, it can be a headache. And Justin Fields has proved that he can run over 150 yards in a game and make it chaotic. And that's the last thing the Kansas City Chiefs defense needs to get caught in. So they need to have a spy. Whether it be Willie Gay, whether it be Drew Tranquill, someone needs to be zoned in on Justin Fields. I don't care what he's done the first 2 weeks of this season. You can focus what he did last year and the potential threat he brings as well. And then when you focus on the weapons he has, DJ Moore is a solid wide receiver number 1. And then they got a lengthy receiver in Chase Claypool. Yes, he hasn't been much of anything with the Chicago Bears, but he did have a touchdown last week, and he may be trying to get his act together. And if that's the case, you better lock the boy up because he was a difficult situation to deal with the Pittsburgh Steelers. And last thing is you want him to get right against our defense. And then Cole Kmet. one of those up-and-coming tight ends as well. Don't let him eat. And then they got 2 running backs, 2 young studs, and Rashawn Johnson and Khalil Herbert, who are a force to be reckoned with running the ball. And best believe Matt Eberflus, if one of his game plans is going to be is keep Patrick Mahomes off the field, that's going to mean running Justin Fields and running the damn ball. And if they succeed with it, it could be a very long day. But one thing that the Kansas City Chiefs can eat, and I'm not going to discredit with them whatsoever, is they went against one of the top 2 offenses in the NFL, against the Detroit Lions and the Jacksonville Jaguars, and the defense stood the task. Now, the Kansas City Chiefs defensive line against the Chicago Bears offensive line. The Chicago Bears offensive line has many woes. And also, they just lost their starting left tackle and put him on injured reserve for 4 weeks. So that means this defensive line can really eat. And if they have an issue getting in the backfield, it's going to be a travesty. It really is. But it's funny. Every time something looks good for the Kansas City Chiefs on paper, that's not how it always pans out. I want that to be a different story in this game. I want the Kansas City Chiefs to dominate. And if Chris Jones wants that Defensive Player of the Year, he's going to have to up it another level than what he did against Jacksonville. And I believe in him. And I believe he's ready to rise to the standard. And guys like George Karlaftis, Mike Dana, Felix Anudike-Uzomah are going to come hungry. And then the secondary as well. This has been the one thing that has been kind of underwhelming. I'm not even going to say kind of. It has been underwhelming for this magnificent defense this year, and we do not have an interception on the year. Let's change that, because that's been something the Kansas City Chiefs have struggled with in years past, is turnovers and getting the ball back to the offense. Let's do that in this game. I'd love to see an interception. McDuffie, get your first one. Snead, join the party. Hey, safeties, go crazy. Justin Reed, Brian Cook, I'm calling for you. I think this can be a really fun game, and I think the Kansas City Chiefs should run away with it, but doesn't mean it's going to be easy. And if they don't get it clicking, it can be more of a game than what people anticipate, but I don't project that. I think this defense is going to still be this Kansas City Chiefs defense that they were to start the year, and I think we're going to see the Kansas City Chiefs offense that we love. But with that, Chiefs Kingdom, you let me know in the comments down below how you're feeling going into this football Sunday to kick off week 3. I'm going to close out this video, but before I do, please be sure to subscribe to the channel. If you did like this video, please leave that big thumbs up. Y'all take care. Peace.